Very elite, the Chanel. Yes.
They told me pink, and I was like, now where am I going to find pink going into fall?
Well,
and
you know you have some pink. Yes, it's cute. Well, welcome. Welcome to New York.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us. I'm very excited to have you here, Deandre, and I know the crowd. Give Deandre another round of applause. Okay, so Deandre, we're gonna start with something fun.
Okay.
Obviously, this is a fireside chat to talk about Gen Z and corporate. It's what you talk about every day anyway. So this is gonna be fun. But I want to start off with some rapid fire icebreaker questions. Okay,
let's do it.
Okay. So first question: TikTok or Instagram?
TikTok.
Okay.
Should I elaborate? Or
Yeah,
just
you can tell us why.
TikTok, of course. Like that's where I started, and for people that are out there that are also creators, I think TikTok is like the best way and the quickest way to like grow your platform and grow your brand. So I'm always team TikTok, but if you just want like a cute little photo dump and you got a fab outfit you want to post, IG for that.
Yeah, they have different use cases.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay, what's your favorite throwback TV show?
Ooh, oh my God, Sex and the City.
Ooh.
It's one of those shows that I watch so much that now I'll just play it while I'm asleep and I know what's happening. Like, as my eyes are closed, I'm like, oh, okay, Samantha's with XYZ, and it's like my eyes are closed, so.
I love that. I feel like since it came back on Netflix, it's had like a comeback recently.
Yes, because I used to watch it on HBO Max, and then when Netflix got it, I was like, oh, now I gotta binge it over again.
Exactly. Okay, Beyonce or Rihanna? It's a hard one.
Beyonce.
Yeah, okay, it's not a hard one. Beyonce.
Of course, like, I love Rihanna down, like, love her, but Beyonce she's a performer. I don't know. It's like, I love her performance. Like, does anyone go to Renaissance tour? So you all understand, like, she performs. Like, she puts on a show. I love that.
Yeah, she's that girl.
Rihanna's like a mom now. She's like businesswoman. She's like entrepreneur. She's a baddie, you know? So
she's a baddie. she said she got to dress like a mom.
Yeah,
so.
I love that.
But then, like, what did she wear after that? She was like, I dress like a mom, and then she was like naked in the street, basically.
Oh.
But we love her.
It's called duality. That's how you do it.
Exactly.
Like, I'm a mom when I'm with the kids, and I'm a baddie outside in the streets when I'm not.
Okay, so what's your go-to hype song?
Ooh, it's always gonna be "Nobody Special" by Future. I was just at his concert last night, actually. Like
a Future concert in 2024 is crazy.
Really? Yeah. And he was on stage for like 15 minutes. I was like, girl, I did not pay for you to be on here for 15 minutes, but I love Future.
I love Future too. Okay, your last binge-worthy series you watched? Ooh,
Your Honor.
Okay, I haven't watched
that.
That
was a good one, wasn't it? I like that.
I didn't watch that.
Oh, you need to. Actually, as soon as you get off of here, you need to go watch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, say less, because I'm not going to have BaddieCon to plan anymore, so I got a lot of time.
Yeah, so now you have time to kick your feet up and turn on Your Honor.
Did anyone watch Supercell? So
I've
good.
never seen that.
You got to watch that one.
Okay.
It's so good.
Supercell.
It's like a UK show, but it's about like black superheroes.
Oh,
it's
okay.
Good, yeah. Okay, my next question is your favorite app you can't live without?
TikTok.
No, besides TikTok.
Okay. Okay. This may be very niche, and I doubt anybody else, like, this is their fave, but I'm, like, addicted to checking my credit score. Like, I do it every day. So, like, I cannot live without that app. I'm sorry. Like, I just need
Which
to.
app is it, though?
I have a few, girl. I have Experian. I have my Credit Karma, and there's another one, but you have to pay for it, but it's called My FICO.
Okay. Well, this is this is not a paid endorsement, so we
No. It's not.
Okay. So, if you could have dinner with any celebrity, who would it be?
Okay, this may be a little problematic, but I'll say like Bill Gates.
Okay. Why?
And only reason I'm like that may be problematic, but only because I've done like I can't talk on that, but I was doing something and I had to do research on him and just a lot around the philanthropy that he does and how he gives back to college students, and that's something that I am doing in the very near future. So it's just I would love to pick his brain more on that.
I love that. Yeah. That's dope. Well, good luck with that.
Thank you.
It makes sense. Okay, the latest tech gadget you're obsessed with.
Latest tech gadget. Is there new things out? I don't know. Like, what's new?
iPhone 15.
Oh, I have that. Let's say like an Apple Watch, but is that the latest?
I don't know. It's
I
okay.
feel like there's something new out. Oh, I don't know if this is a gadget, but like the Tesla.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's a tech something.
It is tech,
yeah.
definitely tech enabled.
Yeah,
I think there's a session upstairs on self-driving cars or like electric vehicles too, so y'all should check that out. But
Period. That was a good plug.
Yeah. So there's that flip phone, the one that like.
Oh, the Motorola. And it's like that. Oh.
Is it? I think it might be. Yeah, the one that opens.
like,
Actually, Will, the event director here, has that phone, and I think it's so cute. It's just very throwback vibes, but it's like an Android. So I'm like, if Apple made that, I would get it.
okay, but how are the pictures on it? Will, I need you to
Wow.
testify.
That's-
How are the pictures?
See, and then you getting green messages. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe for like, I don't know, just to have in your pocket. Like, oh, I
Right.
just have this new phone.
Just because it's cute. Okay. Last question. Work
Okay.
from home or office vibes?
I want to say both. I'm really into like the hybrid vibe.
Okay.
It used to be work from home entirely.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I still think it's good to have some sort of interaction and like with colleagues. I feel like everything doesn't just need to be at home, because when we're at home, we're so caught in our bubble. And if you're anything like me, working from home consists of not really working from home, So I think it's
Right.
good to have a little bit of both, personally.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. I think, most Gen Z is like, oh, work from home. But I feel like it's good to have that FaceTime, and it helps grow your career. So let's get into something more serious since we're on this
Okay.
topic.
Let me put on my serious hat.
Put on.
No, I'm just saying.
Stop. Okay. So my first question, right, is what are some of the things you wish someone would have told you before you started your corporate career?
Okay. That's a really good question. I think one of the biggest thing, well, there's a lot, but one of the things I wish someone would have shared with me is the importance of making connections at your place of work, and not just with people that look like you. Yes, it's important to make connections with people that look at you, but you learn so much from people that don't identify with you and don't have the same walk of life as you.
Yeah.
And I think I went to an HBCU. I went to Morehouse College. So, yes, HBCUs. Any Spelman in the building? Come on, sisters. So I think going to an HBCU, you get in this. I got in a bubble of just being around people that just look like me 24/7. So it was kind of hard trying to make those connections, because like, okay, what do we talk about besides like puppies and things like
Right.
So it was hard. But so I think that's one thing on a more serious note, and then on a more like subtle note, with happy hours. Like, I actually have a really crazy story about this. I've posted about it. Do y'all want me to share the story? Or?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, I didn't realize that when you go to happy hours, like, you shouldn't be getting like super drunk with your colleagues. So I was new to corporate. It was my first ever happy hour. I was super excited. I was here in New York, and we had just launched a big activation at the job I worked at, and Citigroup. I worked at Citi. And we all went out for happy hour, and the drinks were free. So I kept drinking, and they keep coming, and they keep pouring like wine in your bottle. Every time they come, they're like, "Would you like more?" Yes. Would you like more? Yes. So every time I would say yes, and I just got really super drunk. And I remember I was saying, like, because everybody I worked with was way older than me. I was like the only Gen Z on my team. And everyone was married, they had kids, they had families, and I just was talking about, I want a family, I want to be married. Like, I was saying stuff like that. And I didn't even really mean it. I was just drunk, okay? But then there was I have a colleague, they were above me actually, and they told me, they were like, hey, I just want to let you know for future references that you shouldn't do that with your colleagues, like at something like this. Like, that's not good. And I was so embarrassed. And it had become a thing in the office, like, oh, Deandre wants to get married. And that was so annoying, because it's like, oh my gosh, it just reminds me of a bad time. Right. So now I have a trick, and he taught me the trick. Because another thing, your colleagues will, I feel like they, especially as a person of color, they will purposely like try to get you drunk. It's like, take another drink. Why not have another drink? Come on, let's do another drink. And you're like, whatever. So the trick is you do just tonic water with a lime, because they'll think it's a vodka tonic.
Right.
So, yeah, that's very niche. But that's what I learned from something I wish I would have known prior to joining corporate, because that was a very embarrassing experience for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good story because I feel like the happy hours, that's where you make the connections.
Yeah.
That's where people, get to know you and it's like, okay, then they'll think about you for the promotion or whatever. But at the same time, it's a trap.
Yeah.
It's a trap
It
low
is.
key. So you have to be careful and you have like I like that trick, right?
Yeah.
Just do a little vodka, a little tonic.
Right.
And it looks like a little vodka. And also, y'all, if you're VIP, we have the manicures and margaritas. So not too much now. Not too much.
And and I think I always say this, business never really happens in the office. Like
Right.
business happens outside of the office. So those happy hours, going well, I don't golfing, tennis,
yes.
and doing things outside of the office is where you really land your promotion and you really build those connections with your team. You just want to make sure you're always making a good impression when you're doing so.
Yeah, absolutely. Another plug, we got the golf, the Baddie party.
Oh, y'all are plugged up in
Yes,
here.
I'm telling you. But yeah, we got to figure out if we're going to still do it because of the weather. But we'll send out a notification. Yeah, me too, girl. I want to wear it. Okay, my next question is, we often hear that Gen Z values authenticity in the workplace. How do you balance being your true self while maintaining a professional image, especially as a black or person of color?
I think growing up, it was kind of just instilled in me. Like, I had one of those parents, and my parents were always like, monitored my social presence, and this is why they used to always scare me. I was a person when I was younger, I wanted to go to college so bad. Like, when I was in grammar school, I was talking about college. It was insane. But because of that, they used to always say, colleges are going to see this. People are going to see this. So it really made me monitor at a young age just how I present myself online and in general. There's a time and place for everything. I love a good hood jam. I love going out. I just told you I was at a Future concert last night. Like, I do have a good time, but there's just certain things that don't need to be show with everybody. You know what I mean? And I think it's important that you do have, what is it, code switching? Yeah, where you do have these multiple sides to you. Yeah. And I think that's just how I can be myself and show up authentically as me while still being professional, is just knowing when to turn it on and when to turn it off.
Yeah, sometimes you have to compartmentalize.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we put code switching in like has a bad rep, but you can't, be with your homegirls and be with your boss in the same manner.
Yeah.
Like, I think you have to have those moments, and maybe you bring pieces of yourself to certain spaces, and you share pieces of yourself with different people.
Absolutely.
But you have to know time and place, like you said. Yeah.
Definitely time and place. And I think the best way to learn those things is just through trial and error too. Like, you'll learn once you do something, you're like, ooh, maybe I should. For a perfect example, me drinking with the college, like, I learned, ooh, I will never do that again. It's like, you just learn about that professionalism and when to do things and where not to do things as you just do it. So I feel like it's important, but I also think it's something that shouldn't be you shouldn't put too much pressure on when you're like going places or doing things like, oh, I have to show up so professional, because then you also ruin the chance of meeting real connections, because now you're not showing up at all because you're trying to put on a facade, right? So I think you just learn through experience. And
I love that. Give yourself grace.
Yeah.
That's really good. Okay, so work-life balance is a hot topic in corporate. How does Gen Z approach this differently than previous generations, and how do you personally manage it? Yeah,
I think when it comes to Gen Z, are there any like Gen Zs here? Yeah. Oh, wait. Everyone. I think with like Gen Z specifically, we're just a generation where we put ourselves first. We put ourselves before we put anything else, which I think other generations look as a bad thing when it's really a good thing. I think back in the day, it was the American dream. You get a job, you work until you're 50, maybe 60, you retire, and you just live your life. And it's sometimes I just sit and I think, I'm like, dang, they really thought this was a dream. But I don't like to bash other generations too much, because I always say this: other generations walked so we could run, right? So if that never happened, we never even would be to the space that we're on now, where we're like, no, I'm not doing that. No, Um, Gosh, I feel like I'm gauging away from the question. Can you repeat it? I'm sorry. I've gotten on a whole tangent.
No, I think you're answering it. So how does Gen Z approach this differently than previous generations?
Yeah.
And then how do you personally manage it?
Yeah. So yeah, I just think again, Gen Z, we just put ourselves first, and we put our mental first, our mental well-being, and I think money is still very important to us when it comes to where we're working, but we're not gonna allow ourselves to suffer because of a check. I believe. Well, I think other generations, it was so much about providing, and I have to do this, and I have to make this much by this time so that I can retire at this time. It's like they were going in young, already looking at the end and looking for right.
Yeah.
While we're just like, girl, we're just going in. I may be there. I may last one day at the job and quit. We just do it. We just do. And then the way I manage it, and I'll be honest, it does get difficult. Even as Gen Z, when you're working jobs, it can be hard to find that balance. And I've run into those places where I lack that balance. And I think the way I manage it now is I give my all while I'm at the job, but then outside of, like, I'm trying to, because my work is a little different now.
Yeah.
So I'll give my all while it's something due. Like if I have a due date or I have a project coming up, I'll make sure that I do it all ahead of time so that I do have time to also enjoy my life as well. But when I was in corporate America, once it finally clicked for me, because at first I was the hamster on the wheel that I was trying to get everything. I was trying to do everything. I was trying to impress everybody. And once it finally clicked, I think the way I managed it then was I was just very clear of my job description and very clear of what I wanted from my life. So anything that was outside of that description or didn't align with the place I wanted to be, I would just like decline and say no to.
I love that. Yeah, round of applause for that. Because I also think that it's really about where you place your value.
Yes.
Right? Like, what is valuable to you? Where does because time is money. Time is more valuable than money, right?
It is.
And so it's about where you want to place that value. And I think that Gen Z just places it at a different place, right? It's like, I want to focus on myself. I want to focus on my family, on my friends, on my relationships. And really, like, again, like you said, we're not here. We're here for a good time, not a long time, right? Like, you don't know. Tomorrow's not promised. So you don't know when things are going to, whatever. And so it really is about enjoying the time now versus like, okay, I'm going to retire.
I agree. And when I first was starting out, I would get like a lot of interviewers coming to me, and they will always ask the same question. And I'm just like, why do y'all keep asking me this? And the question would be, so why is your like generation so lazy? And I used to always say, OMG, like, we're not lazy. Gen Z is not lazy. I think we just work differently. And because we don't work the same as you all work or worked, you all just deem it as lazy, when it's not lazy. It's just a different way about going about things. But I feel like when you're not burnt out, and you do have that time for yourself, you work harder and you work better, and you put out better work than you do when you are just trying to do everything, and not giving yourself time.
Yeah, I think that the type of work that we're doing now, the type of work that's valuable is creative work, right? Because of like the rise of AI and all of that stuff, the past generation's type of work can be automated. And so to your point, when you're not burnt out, when you have, when you filled your own cup, you can be more creative. And that allows us to do the type of work that is valuable in today's world. So I really love that. Yeah. Okay. Do you have any advice on navigating setting boundaries in the workplace, especially when it comes to the different views of professionalism and work culture?
Yeah, I think I briefly was touching on this, and I think, like I said, when it comes to setting boundaries, the things that I did, knowing where I wanted to be, and then knowing, what did I say? Okay, knowing where I wanted to be is super important, like knowing where you want to go, but also knowing that you still have a job and you still have responsibilities to do. And it really comes down to like time management and like your schedule. How you're scheduling your calendar is so important. Like I saw someone on, I want to say that was Twitter or TikTok, and they had this schedule, and literally it would be like wake up at 8, walk the dog at 8:15, and then when you really think about it though, that's the way to go. That's the way to go about it, because then you're making sure you're making time for your job and making time for what is your priority at the moment, and then also making time for yourself, which is also a priority at every moment. So I think it really just comes down when it comes to setting to set yourself up to be able to set your boundaries, is knowing where you want to be and and being clear on your schedule.
Yeah.
And then also just not being afraid to tell people I can't do this. I don't want to do, like, this isn't within my job description. It can sound scary and terrifying, but I've done it, and honestly it makes your team respect you a lot more. When they know you won't just fall for everything. Like, they respect you a lot more. At least that was my experience. Yeah. But I still think it's important. I know at jobs sometimes you'll do additional work outside of just the work that's assigned to you. But if you're doing that, just make sure that it aligns with the path that you are trying to set up for yourself.
I love that.
And that was my thing. Like, I did my job, and then at the time my company was seeing how they could utilize TikTok throughout the company to like bring in a more diverse leadership. So I was helping with that initiative, very outside of my job description, but it was kind of in line with my goal.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm okay with doing this. So it's like, these companies are using you, why not use them too?
I love that.
Yeah.
I feel like there's so much wisdom in what you said, because we're all on this corporate path to grow, to get to leadership, whatever the case may be. And it's like, if they're gonna make you do other work, like, you should have communicated with your manager that this is the growth path that I'm on, and really make sure that the other tasks that you're taking on outside of your immediate job description are aligned with that. And then they can say like, oh, not only is she willing to step up and help out where the team needs, but you're also getting that hands-on experience that's going to get you to that next level. So right. I really love that. Yeah, that's dope. Okay. Actually, I wanted to ask you as a follow-up question, how do you manage your schedule?
Now, now I have like you said, time is money. So now I have a team that manages the whole schedule. Yes. But when I first started, I was doing it all myself. And this is at the time when I was still working in corporate America, and I was like influencing, doing brand deals, speaking on panels, all of that stuff as well. And it was the hardest thing in the world. And I'll be honest, I remember I said how I've had my ups and downs when it comes to time management, and having boundaries for myself. And I think that was at a time mine were at an all-time low. I would literally get off of work at 6, maybe 7. On a bad, like, if it was busy. Seven wasn't normal. It was like
crazy.
It was like if we were doing an activation or something. It's like, okay, I could stay an extra hour. And then literally the rest of the night I would be filming my brand deals, getting my content out. It was like crazy. Like, I would be up till like 3 a.m.
Yeah, you were working hard.
I was working hard, but I had to, so that I can do what I wanted to do for myself, which is leave corporate America, which I was able to do because I had worked hard, I was stacking, and I was able to make that leap. Okay. And that's why I was saying I think it's important. You do things for yourself as well. And there will be times where you do have to sacrifice. Okay, you can't just get off at 5 and slam the laptop down and be done. You have to take those sacrifices, and maybe you're working till 10. Maybe you're up till 3, 4, 5 a.m. But that's what we do so that when we get to the space we want to be at, now we can just chill and relax. Because now I don't touch a calendar. I have it on my phone, but I don't really.
Yeah. Anthony held it down.
Yeah. Anthony be working.
No, I love that. It's everything in its season.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's a great segue to my next question, which is, you've built the corporate Baddie brand into a platform that reaches millions worldwide, and you're now a full-time entrepreneur and creator. Mm-hmm. What was that journey like before you became a full-time creator, which you kind of spoke to, and how did you integrate your personal brand with your professional role, and what advice do you give to others trying to do the same?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I think for me, it was a little easy because my content was around corporate America. Mm-hmm. Like, corporate Baddie was about being in corporate America while I was also in corporate America. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't hard to, like, I guess,
Integrated.
and yeah, it was actually pretty easy. It was very seamless. For others, I think you should keep them as far separate as possible, if I'm being very honest. I think that was where it became tricky with me, because they were so integrated where my job was starting to speculate on what's going on.
Yeah.
And I had a meeting with HR, and HR was like, because at first everyone loved it. Everyone was like, oh my gosh, we love it. Keep going. And then you hear from HR, who you don't speak to every day, and everybody hates, well, they don't say this, but it's like, you can't be doing this.
Yeah.
Or it's like this or this. And then that's when I had to make the tricky decision to leave at that moment. And I left because I wasn't going to stop putting out content because of that. So I say all that to say, I think it's important that you really try to separate the two as much as possible. So if you are going to do corporate content or you're interested in corporate content, you just don't mention your job. Like, just keep them out of it as much as possible. I feel like I was growing. I never mentioned my job, but I was growing at such a rate where people will find my LinkedIn. And this is how it actually happened. I was doing a article with New York Times, and they literally, I never told them where I worked. And then literally for the article, they found where I worked through my LinkedIn. So then my job was like, because I never had said where I worked. Right. I just said I worked in corporate America. Yeah. And then that's how that was like, that was kind of what they used to be like, you can't be doing this because it was like, you mentioned us. So that's why I just think it's important, even if you're doing corporate content, to just keep them very separate. If you're on LinkedIn, I don't know, go private, do something. I don't know, but just don't let people find out where you work. You can give corporate advice. You can do all that. I love corporate content. I love seeing it. But I really think I suggest you just keep them separate until you're in a space where it's like, I'm okay with what happens. I'm ready if they find out. All right, I'm leaving. And I've seen this happen with so many other creators as well, black creators too, where it was one girl, she was an attorney. Yeah,
I was thinking of her any given Sunday, yeah.
And they found out and she left. So, yeah, just keep them separate.
Yeah. No, I relate to that too because when I was working full-time as well as building Baddies in Tech, my job was in DEI talent acquisition. So it was like I was helping to recruit people of color to the company. And then I also had a community of women of color in the tech industry and helping to create connections to other companies with them. So it was very much like, okay,
it's like,
what you doing?
Like, let me talk to you real quick.
Yeah. They was like, come into my office. Yeah. So I had to make that decision of like, I'm going to put my all. I believe in this. I'm going to put my all into it, and I'm going to grow it. And
you did that.
And I did that. And then we're here today.
Cheers to you.
Thank you.
But, I will also be honest and say there will come a point in time as you do your, if people that are creating content, there will become a time where there's overlap, even if you're trying not to make it overlap, because you'll just grow at such a rate where it's like, well, God, what am I supposed to do? Like, how am I going to handle this? Right. And then that's when so there always will be that point where you will have to make that decision. But when you're starting out and you're like a small creator, and some people just want to be micro creators, make their extra $5K a month and, do that. And if you're that person, that's the ones I really recommend you just keep them very far apart so you don't stop this bag. And I think that's something that also needs to change with corporations in the coming years. Like, we need to really go reevaluate our social media, their social media policies. Because back then, yes, like, we weren't super fixated online, but online is such a huge part of our personal brands. And, it's a huge part of just the society and the way we live now, where there needs to be some conversation around what is okay and what's not okay, I think.
Yeah, I think the policies are outdated.
Very. But isn't everything in corporate
literally
outdated? That's why I go and talk to the corporations about, like, hey, this is how you retain Gen Z. This is what you should be doing.
I love that. You're doing God's work because we need it.
I'm trying.
Okay, so we're coming up on time. So I'd like to ask you one more question. What's one piece of advice you'd leave with people in the room who are Gen Z and trying? Wait, actually, I forgot to ask you a question. I want to ask this question.
Uh-oh.
So,
I'm scared.
no,
I'm
no,
just
no,
saying.
no. It's really about, and I feel like it's not here, but it's really about like advice to managers of Gen Z, right? Like,
Okay.
if you're a manager in the room or you're a leader and you have Gen Z working under you, like what's the advice of like managing this new generation and making sure that you're creating a safe environment for them and that they can grow? What's your advice for that?
Yeah, that's what I do. Like with my consulting, I do that a lot with managers at big corporations. And the biggest thing I always say is to listen. Just be willing to hear. Ask the person you're working with, the Gen Z that's on your team, what do you think I should do? What do you think? Because the worst thing that you can have as a manager is a manager that's stuck in their ways and isn't willing to evolve and learn. So if you have a manager that wants to evolve and that's willing to learn from the people that work under them, that's how you create a safe and a healthy work relationship, and also a healthy work environment, and also that's how you really start to understand Gen Z. Because as a Gen Z, a lot of us, actually, I won't say that. I'm not gonna speak too soon because I've recently been coming across a lot of Gen Zs who are like in really big managerial roles.
Yeah.
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 But for me, when I was starting, I was an analyst. That's like the starting role. And for a lot of some other Gen Zs are that too, where yes, we say what we want. We'll say it on social media, or we'll say it and set those boundaries at our place of work. But we're not in the rooms when the big decisions are being made. But the managers and the people, their SVPs, the people that are above you are the ones that are in the room. So it's important that they just listen so that they can know, oh, okay, this is what I should be saying. We should do this differently as a company, because those are the ones that can help make those decisions to make it a better place for us as Gen Z to work.
I love that. Excuse my additional shameless plug. So we're Baddies in Tech. We're launching a membership platform, and you can learn more about it upstairs. But the biggest thing about that, and the main part of that membership, is our mentorship program. And the mentorship program is a peer/group mentorship program where we're matching members to five to six members in a group. And one of the members will be like a manager, senior level. One of them will be like a mid-level. One of them will be like just graduating, Gen Z, whatever. And the whole point is that it's circular mentorship. It's, the mid-level teaching the Gen Z person, but also the Gen Z person teaching the manager, right? Like there's like new insight, fresh insight. They just got out of college. Like there's new things that person who's been out of school for 20 plus years doesn't know. And so there's so much that Gen Z can teach managerial, executive level people, and I think it's really important to give that space for that.
Yeah, we, like I said, we all learn from each other. And I know earlier, I forgot what the question was, but I mentioned how the thing I wish I knew before going into corporate America was just building those connections with other people who don't identify as me, who don't look at me, aren't the same age as me, come from different backgrounds, because of that exact reason. We all learn from each other.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so my last question is, what's one piece of advice you'd like to leave with the people in the room who are Gen Z trying to navigate the corporate world?
Yeah, I think that what's common amongst Gen Z is imposter syndrome. And I think my biggest piece of advice is to really know that you're there for a reason. You have a lot of value. You have a lot to offer the jobs and that you're in, especially as somebody that's young, fresh. You just have a lot to offer, and remember that you're the prize and that you're there for a reason. They need you at the end of the day, and don't allow them or allow the job to make you feel as if you're less than. And that's just my biggest piece of advice, because I felt victim to that a lot. I was the person where I cramped myself in a shell, and I was like, maybe I don't belong here. Maybe I was just chosen because I'm a black gay male, and they just needed like diversity pick. And it can get you in a really dark space. But knowing that you are valuable and that you have a lot of value actually, no shade, a lot more valuable than the older people that are working above you. Because you are because you're literally the future of this company. Yeah. Like we're young now, we're starting now, but we are going to be running this SHIT and and the next years. So yeah, just know you're worthy. You deserve to be there. Don't let anybody make you feel less than or otherwise.
Love that. Okay, with that, we will end the panel.
Thank you all so much for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. This was amazing. Okay, let's transition. I think we're going to take a few pictures. Is this here? Yes.
I want to take a group picture, too. I don't know if we can all... Wait, I feel like I can, a video.
Take a picture now. Hey, give me something I'm gonna remember. Very professional. Hey, hey. Oh woman, you give me all that time for I say, oh woman.
Thank you.
Second, let me fix myself. Oh. I'm looking like too.
When things get rough, we hold on each other tight, tight. Even though we fuss and we fight, you see us my best friend. Don't feel like a sister. You're more than a brethren. And we go into the end. Boy, I want you to know. Anywhere you want, oh, I gon' be right there. And this is my thanks for everything you do. I appreciate it. Highly, highly rate it. I said thanks for all the memories that we created. Jamming on the road. So if you have a little better wrong, we on that. Passing down, we on that. Having fun, doing what we love. We love, we love. Jumping around, we on that. Winding down to the ground like that.
Mic check.
So happy doing what we love.
All right.
Hope you remember me. I can't forget this day. Hope you remember me. I always remember way. Oh gosh, girl, say that waistline unforgettable. Say your love is unforgettable. Put it on me, make it unforgettable. My sexy woman, you give me all that thanks for I say, oh woman. As a man that can want more, I must say thanks. For the time that you give me thanks. For the wine that you give me thanks.
Mic check, mic check. All right, everybody. Mic check, mic check. All right, everyone. So just a heads up, it is lunchtime, so don't feel stranded in this room. Please go get some food, go meet some other attendees, and enjoy until 2 p.m. We'll be returning right back in this room. See you all soon.